What's up, fam? This is another recording, the minister's Red Pill Diaries. I'm the interfaith minister in Kanwi, Folkwambe, the initiator of the Ministry of Spiritology, and director of the Association for Cultural Awareness. And in this recording, for our Ministry of Spiritology YouTube channel, we will be talking about toxic femininity. Now, I want to make sure to remind you, before we do start, of course, that, we've been monitoring the YouTube channel. I want to encourage you all that if you want to watch a video, if you do watch a video, make sure that you watch the video to the end. For the statistics and the logging, we need you all to watch the video all the way to the end. I'm looking at the statistics. People are jumping in and watching 6 minutes. Some videos, people have gone to the end. But, we really want to get this channel, hype. We really have a lot of visions for what we're doing with this channel, with the content that we are creating. So we're encouraging you all that you make sure you do watch the videos to the end. If you do watch the videos, make sure that you do click like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, share the videos in YouTube, Instagram, any social media platform that you're interacting in, WhatsApp, so that we should get people, aware of what we are doing here in Africa as far as building this African consciousness community on the African continent. I had a brother tell me that, I should even stop calling myself the interfaith minister. He told me I should call myself a naturalist minister. So let me just also throw that out there. I'm the naturalist minister, ordained actually officially. I've been doing independent research as well for 20 years, studied biblical Egyptology for my ordination as well, also BA in journalism, So what we're doing, we're working mass communication to enlighten our people and give y'all wisdom out there, bring y'all to the next level as far as, not necessarily just African, because we want to go broader than the concept of interfaith, broader than the concept of, even being an African spirituality minister. Our intent is to actually fuse the pre-colonial, pre-Christian, pre-Christine, pre-Roman Catholic traditions into a common philosophy that will allow those of us who recognize the ancient traditions to have a rational theological platform for our own spiritual expression. Since, we can't go to the Christian church, we can't get deeply involved in Islam and become 100% Muslims, because we have a deeper understanding of, the naturalist foundations of which those spiritual platforms were built upon. So, just to give you a little bit of an understanding of what we are doing, that's just how we're going to start that intro. I've already delayed a little bit and chopped a lot of my minutes, so let's get to it. Let's talk about this idea, toxic femininity. I'm going to start off like this. There's a concept about toxic masculinity. And when the feminists, when they talk about toxic masculinity, what they're complaining about is that men don't know how to express their emotions. Men are raised to think that they have to hide their emotions, that they have to be chauvinistic, that they have to be hard, that they have to be brutal. And this therefore goes and causes them to not know how to treat a lady, essentially. So they say that masculinity itself is toxic. They say that men intentionally want to oppress women. Men don't want to give women their rights. And when I come out, speaking anti-feminist, people are going to think that I'm against women's rights. That's not true. I'm 100% for women's rights, I would like to even present myself at times as a men's rights activist, but I'm not going to do that. I consider myself, in my training as a journalist, as a human rights advocate, because I believe that both men and women have to establish equity and represent equality where it can be established. So my intent is not to come out and say women's rights are something that don't need to be respected. No, I believe 100% in women's rights. I have a mom, obviously, I got sisters, I got aunties, I got grandmothers, I've dated women, try my best to give them the highest ideal of what a man can even represent. So if someone comes at me and they're like, I'm anti-women's rights, no, that's not it. I'm anti-feminist because I believe and I know that when they say feminist, what they're doing is they're creating another class. They're trying to make a gender class. And we can't have gender classes. There are only two genders on the face of this planet. There's men and women. So if women start segregating themselves into a group to oppose men like what we see is already happening in society with the way that the rights in that radical feminism has started to encroach on society. There's a lot of lack of respect for men at this point. There's a lot of imbalance. You know, babies are getting born without parents. Babies are even getting killed. You know, abortion rights are being increased and all of that. It's getting crazy. You know, women now are weaponizing their sexuality. You know, it's getting hard outside. Relationships are failing. People don't have the inner peace that they used to when they were getting into relationships. So I want to speak on that because in the context of them trying to say that there's toxic masculinity in that regard, we need to start looking at this issue of why and what it really means and how we can better fuse the relationship between men and women so that this idea of toxic masculinity can be, you know, abridged to a better extent, moving towards more equality and equity between men and women. And I mean, truthfully, if they're going to say there's toxic masculinity, then there's obviously going to be toxic femininity. And what is toxic femininity? Let me speak on that. Toxic femininity is deeply derived first from feminism. And before feminism has gone to project that into society, we have to recognize that women are raised with a feeling of entitlement. Just like women want to complain that, you know, young boys are raised and told that they should not show their emotions, you know, that boys are supposed to wear trousers, you know, and deal only with tools, and they're not supposed to be emotional. You know, women are allowed to have this feeling of entitlement, and they're allowed to be over emotional and use their emotions to make bad decisions, which therefore compromise their own productivity, compromise their relationships, compromise their capacity to actually enjoy their lives in society, raise their economic capacity, and as well, it makes it difficult for them to enjoy relationships with men because they're too emotional. And they use their emotions now to cover up the mistakes that they make rationally. Women go and do things intentionally and then say that it's because of their emotions for this or that. You know, a woman will cheat on a man and she'll be like, oh, he wasn't giving me enough attention. That's not a reason to justify you cheating on a man. That, let's even in a dating relationship. Okay, let's look at a marital relationship. A woman would be married to a man and made vows and have children and say that it's because this man was not giving her attention and she'll cheat on him. Now, is lack of attention enough to go and violate marital vows? It's not. But women will sit together in a band now and be like, oh, when the woman's crying and acting all of this, they'll be like, oh, I understand your emotions and justify it. And it's not correct. I'll be very honest. There's a woman out there who will feel that she maybe is not even able to give birth to a child. And because of the emotional pressure, I'm talking in the African society, she will go now and have a child with a different man intentionally and then go back and blame it on, you know, this fact that she had this pressure from society and this, da, 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 da. But the reality of this situation is that she's just using her emotions to justify her making a bad decision, which compromises her and compromises even her marriage. There's so many situations that we can actually view that women use their emotions negatively to justify the stupid, nasty, terrible, evil things that they do. You know what I'm saying? A woman could meet a man in adultery and kill him and then use her emotions to say that she was hurt and go scot-free, get a diminished court sentence. But we know statistically there are more men in prison, more men even sitting on death row because the way society gives women upper hand of looking at her as the weaker sex. And feminism rides on that too and tries to say that, you know, women are being oppressed by men, but women receive a lot of privileges in society. You know, when it comes to the marriage, when it comes to the way that men have to take care of them, cater for them. You know, if you go all up in the social media now, all you see is women talking about how they think a man needs to do this or do that or do this for a man. And, you know, they're justified in the way that they argue it. And you even got these beta males out there, you know what I'm saying, who even will be like, yeah, I just got to do that to get a woman. But what you realize, like these women who are saying all of this, they're not bringing nothing to the table. Some of them will ride their trauma from their childhood and past relationships, like men too have not been traumatized in their childhood and had bad relationships. But some of these women will ride this trauma and, you know, use it like a justification again, claiming it's their emotional right to do this or that to another man in a different relationship and all this. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about toxic femininity. This entitlement that women feel they have, that they can get away with basically practically murder, and that men have to bow down to them and they can even use it and get away with it. You know, in the Western society, we see that women intentionally even, they want to get married to a man, they want to get an expensive ring. When they divorce, they're going to sell that ring They're going to get alimony when they have like 3, 4, 5 kids. If the kids are not even up to 18, they're going to get child support. So women are even encouraged to go ahead and divorce men. That's toxic femininity. In the African society, you know, my fellas in Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, you know, Cameroon, they're even getting involved in it. They started the Stingy Men's Association because of this. Because men realized actually that there is toxic femininity in the society. And African women now are like, I'm not going to give this man no sex if he's not going to just give me money up front. You know, women have weaponized their sexuality. That's what I call it, the weaponization of sexuality. That's toxic. That's toxic femininity. So if women want to sit down and talk about toxic masculinity, oh, hold up. Let's put carte sur table. You know, that's French. Let's put all the cards on the table and raise the equality, since feminists like to talk about equality, and recognize that, yes, it's not just one-sided. You feel me? It's coming from both sides. And they're not going to recognize that, then this problem that feminists claim that they are fighting for, to establish equality between men and women, it's not going to be realized. Because what they're doing with instant feminism is they're creating a gender classification which should not exist, to have a representation politically and encourage other women who don't even understand the dynamics of the manipulation that some women have who have been hurt, who want to just take advantage of men, essentially. They want to use policy and manipulate it to take advantage of men. So we even saw the #Me Too movement in the United States, in which some men like Bill Cosby, who had some botched sexual interactions with women 20 and 30 years ago, we see these women coming back. Some of them were even paid to even make up lies about him. Some of the interactions might have been true, but I'll be honest, things happen between a man and woman where they're in a bedroom. And I saw a meme where a woman said she was even anti-feminist. I mean, there are even women who are anti-feminist. Let's recognize this. There was a woman who said that she does not like the idea of, you know, a woman being able to get drunk, have stupid sex with a man, and then wake up in the morning and be like, you know, oh, the man raped me. And this was a woman who was first complaining that she was raped when she was 12. And she didn't want to see that there can be an equation in it, that she can have been raped as a minor, you know, at 12 years old. And then a woman just comes along now because she got drunk and had some bad sex with a man that made her feel guilty, or maybe she was married, or maybe she had a boyfriend, he found out, and she wanted to just cover it up and be like, oh, the dude raped me. She just used rape as an excuse. And there are a lot of women out there using rape as a free, careless, toxic, feminine excuse to just put a man in trouble, put a man behind bars. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about toxic femininity. We are recognizing that women are using their femininity in a very nasty manner, and they are raised with this sense of entitlement to feel that they can do that. I mean, if they want to complain that boys are told that, you know, they should only play with footballs and only deal with tools and wear trousers and not express their emotions, we need to recognize that girls, when they are raised right from youth, they are allowed to get away with murder. Young boys will be beaten or physically disciplined with corporal punishment, especially in African society, for things that if a girl did when she's young, the father or the mother or the aunts and aunties will be like, oh, she's a girl, she's soft, she's this. They let her get away with that. And I'll be honest, that's not cool. That allows girls to grow with this mentality that they feel entitled to do whatever they want. So this toxic femininity, it starts in the girl's youth. It starts, you know, toxic femininity for women, it starts when a girl is very young. And a society that starts to encourage them to have that mentality, and it's not correct. I'll be very honest. You see it. We need to stop. Women, y'all need to stop. Y'all need to stop that false sense of entitlement. Even when I started coming out with, you know, the whole logic of, you know, the red pill in a lot of African social media forums, I got a lot of heat from women who were telling me that I hate women just because I was trying to bring up the equality and represent the games that they play. Women don't want to hear a man talking real like this about what they are doing. They want to be able to play these tricks and get away with it, even in the relationships, in interaction with men, leading men on, thinking that they're going to get a date with them so that the man will take them out sometimes to eat. I mean, there are women who will fool a guy into thinking they want to be romantically involved with them just so he can take them out to eat. And they have no intention of even being romantically involved with him. It's not wrong that a man is biologically hardwired to love a woman, to want to procreate and have children. Women, you don't have the right to take advantage of that. And that's what you're doing. It's toxic femininity. Just because what you want to call God, or what I call universal consciousness, or natural law or nature has made a man and woman want to come together, and a man so desires woman and is attracted to her, does not give the woman the right to use that psychological hardwiring, that spiritual hardwiring, that nature that a man has, to just take him and mess him up in the name of this toxic femininity, in the name of this idea of feminism, and a woman feeling entitled, and a woman thinking that her women's rights is that she has to take advantage and useless a man. No, women's rights is about where we see issues in society where women are not maybe getting equal wages, women are not empowered in the workplace, you know, women are being taken advantage of, where women are actually violently raped, you know, where women are cheated and treated as if they are unequals in capacities where naturally by their human rights, they are equal. If a man is telling a woman to shut up just because she's a woman, no, that's not correct. Everyone has the right, if you read the Articles of Human Rights, to be represented in that capacity. So if you're violating someone's rights on that lines, then that's wrong. Women's rights are human rights. Men's rights are also human rights. We don't need to start twisting this up, my people. We need to recognize this and keep it in the forefront and stop playing these games, because people getting hurt out there. People's feelings are getting hurt. You know, the nucleus of society is the man and woman coming together to form the family and give birth to the children. You know what I'm saying? Man, woman, child, sun, moon, and stars. That's 1, 2, and 3. Like I told y'all in the other video, supreme mathematics. That's natural law. Universal consciousness is giving that as a foundation. We can get into numerology and start breaking that down, but that'll be a different video. So I want you all to understand this. There's toxic femininity out there. It's a problem. It's an issue. It's derailing society, and it's creating serious problems in the African society. And we need to start looking at it and keeping it in check. Y'all feminists out there talking about male masculinity, toxic masculinity, what you need to understand is that you all have created a situation where women feel they don't need to be married to men anymore. Women now feel that they are empowered on their own. So they're now having babies, not just girls, but boys. And they're raising these boys alone. And if you would start looking at the reality of since the radical feminist movement became so diabolic as it is, and when the increased rate of single mothers out there, what we have now is boys who are not being raised with fathers around. So if we're now in 2021, and this has been going on since the 1960s, then you need to realize that the toxic masculinity that women now are complaining about today was actually caused by them, because they're the ones who are raising these young boys and telling them that, oh, you gotta be a man, you gotta be hard. And in some cases, some of these men are even being feminized, which is another issue that I'm going to talk about in a different video, because some of these men are being raised by single moms who are turning them into women indirectly so that they don't have spines. They're basically blue pill beta male all the way. And that's what's making a lot of these men toxic, because they see the way that their mothers treat them, are raising them, see the way that their mothers are treating other men, and they don't like it. They don't see that it's cool. And it's creating a problem. They're retaliating. That's why you even see the MGTOW movement came up, because men had to stand against it. That's just a natural reaction to what we have seen come from radical feminism. And what I'm doing now, you know what I'm saying, coming out with my view of red pill for the African context, is I'm going to bring balance to it from a naturalist perspective. So my brothers in MGTOW, bear with me, because I know some of y'all got right to be vexed. Y'all got right to be angry with women. And y'all women, true, y'all got a right to be mad and angry with some of these men out there. You know what I'm saying? But let's put everything on a scale and look at this thing rationally. Like I said, there's toxic masculinity and there is toxic femininity. Now I hope you all are able to get the message in that and vibe with it and recognize that we got a lot of work to do. If you like this video, I want to encourage you once again, make sure that you click like on it. Do share the video. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, because we're going to continue to develop more and more content on the Minister's Red Pill Diaries. We have some other segments that we're going to also put on the Ministry of Spiritology YouTube channel, so also develop it so we can keep y'all enlightened and informed and up to date, especially for our African population and our naturalist people all over the world. Now that's where I'm going to drop out. I have been the naturalist minister in Kanwi Folkwa Mbe, the initiator of the Ministry of Spiritology and director of the Association of Spiritual Awareness, saying once again, peace profound, peace, one love.